From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
And now, Radio Cayman presents The Business Buzz, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local business environment. This is where we address the business topics that matter. Radio Cayman's Business Buzz. Here's your host, Anita Khan.
Good morning. It's now 7:30. Thank you so much for joining us on Radio Cayman's Business Buzz on this gorgeous Thursday morning. I am Anita Khan, and I'll be keeping you company until 9 o'clock. This is our first segment of the Business Buzz for this Thursday morning. And on this segment, we'll be looking at underwater photography and diving in the Cayman Islands. And who do we have in the studio this morning? None other than the award-winning underwater photographer and also owner of Ambassadors Divers in Grand Cayman, Mr. Jason Washington. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning, Anita.
It's a pleasure to have you in the studio.
I'm very happy to be here. My first time at Radio Cayman.
Well, welcome, and hopefully it won't be your last.
Hopefully not.
You'll be a returning guest.
Fantastic.
Now, Jason, you're well known around the world, correct?
Yes.
Everyone know you by now, should know you by your series, your underwater photography series. You give tips, but most of all, you're a diver.
Yes.
What came first, the diving or photography?
The diving for me came first, but you know the weird way I got into the industry was back in the day I had gone to a professional diving school, and in that program I knew I wanted to be a diver. I knew I wanted to get out of the town that I was living in currently back in nowhere, United States, and the school that I went to offered an underwater photography program, and it was an interesting process to go through, and I actually just did the underwater photography class as an amendment to my resume. You know, that was it was a way to get a job. You know, it was just something else to add.
Something
to the list.
Additional, right? That looks good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how I got started.
That's how you got started.
Yeah.
And then you moved to the Cayman Islands?
I moved straight to the Cayman Islands, and I've been here ever since, and Cayman's been good to me.
Well, we're glad you're here, because we can say we have an award-winning photographer living in. I'm not just kidding.
Well, you know,
just kidding.
it's such a great place for an underwater photographer. I mean, we have everything here. We've got access year-round to some of the best, most clear water in the world. It's warm. The conditions are always great. It's just a perfect place for underwater photography.
Well, Jason, you know, I can't swim, as I was telling you earlier.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate your photography, since Susan introduced me to them. Good morning, Susan. Susan is our producer.
Good morning, Susan.
Susan introduced me to this photography and photographs and some of your videos, and I'm like, oh my gosh, amazing.
You know, it's we were talking before we started here, and you'd mentioned that your first reaction was a lot of that stuff looks photoshopped.
Yes.
And I told you that's kind of a left-handed compliment for me. We strive for those images that are wow, that make people want to start a conversation about photography or the marine environment. So that's a win-win for us when we hear that.
So what really inspired you, Jason, to start diving and taking those photos underwater?
I think it's just growing up. Every waking moment I had throughout my life, be it in Cayman or when I was just a preteen in the United States, every moment I had was on the water somewhere. Every chance I got, when I had a free moment, I was going to be at a lake, a river, a creek, wherever it was that had something to do with water. So I gravitated toward that from the get, just from a young child. And when I found out that I could actually make a living at doing that thing, scuba diving, generally, it was a no-brainer for me.
That was the love.
Oh yeah, it's chasing your passion and that old cliche of how's it go? Find something that you love to do.
And never work another day in your life.
Never work another day in your life. That's not exactly true, by the way. The diving industry is a tough gig, but I enjoy it.
Well, once you enjoy it, that's a fun and making an earning. Now, Jason, what makes diving in the Cayman Islands so special?
Well, I think it's a combination of factors. As I'd mentioned, the ease of which you can dive here. Mm-hmm. People, I think, take it for granted. There are a lot of locations that have a lot of trade winds, heavy trade winds, or take, for instance, islands that have elevation. Mm-hmm. You'll have rainwater and a lot of runoff from the ground. So you get a lot of rain, sediment goes off the edge of the island into the sea. You get bad visibility. Cayman, we don't have that. We don't have any rivers that are pouring out sediment mm-hmm. into across our reef. We don't have the proximity of our closest countries are far enough away that their rivers or their pollution or their garbage don't really have that great of an effect on us. People might argue with me when they visit, the Brac or Little and they see all those shoes across the North Coast. But for the most part, we don't have any. We're not really affected by a lot of other nations. So Cayman's got warm water year round. It's easy to get in and out. We got a lot of insanely beautiful marine creatures here. Just top 5 globally.
Well, I'm glad you do that photography because I get an opportunity to see what's
for those that don't swim, right? It's the perfect thing.
Like me.
There you go.
I did share that with Jason earlier this morning. Now, Jason, what are some of the challenges for diving businesses, especially now with the borders being closed?
Well, you hit it on the head. With the border closure, that is, more than 99% of our business. We do have some local business, but it's just not, you can't sustain the machine that we built to cater to the tourism industry. And with the border closure, we furloughed 10 employees, and we've got a few left on island, but we get a trip maybe once or twice a week with a couple of locals. Of course, we don't charge the locals the same as we do the tourists. It's at a discounted rate, and it's just the local market can't sustain the amount of businesses that are here that are set up ready to receive those tourists as they come back in. And I think it's important that for everyone to remember that a lot of the wealth built in the Cayman Islands is built on the back of the tourism industry. Mm-hmm. And now that we're closed, all of those entities are suffering. And I was really looking forward to yesterday's press conference about the vaccine and the border reopening, and fingers crossed we can go on that September 15th update because we need to put a pin on a calendar so that we can start the process of restarting and sort of get everything in place. So when we do restart, we've got everything ready to go.
How have you been surviving? Getting on?
Well, I've been fortunate in that my photography keeps the business afloat. I've got a few employees left on island, great people, and without the additional income from the underwater photography gigs that I get from overseas, we just wouldn't be here. We'd have to shut everything down. But currently working for Cressy, I represent Patty. As a matter of fact, as of today, I just launched a new watch with Yema, which is a French watch company. They have done a brand new re-edition of a watch they made back in the 60s called the Skin Diver Superman. And they hired me they hired me as the face of the watch.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. But it dropped today, and we're very excited about it. And I'm looking forward to getting over. Their headquarters is in Mauritius. Mm-hmm. And, of course, it's great diving over there as well. So I'm looking forward to the border reopening so we can get over there and do some work with those guys and film whales and do all the fun stuff that a gig like this, brings to the table.
Getting some of those guys to come back here.
Absolutely.
And enjoy our
100%.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure you'll work on that, Jason.
Of course, yeah.
Sure. No, Jason, I believe I don't believe. I know you have the YouTube series called This Is the Way I See It.
Yes.
Awesome. Tell us more about it and some of the topics that you've covered on those series.
So we started that YouTube channel sort of to help other people with understanding what it is that I do. As as a conservationist, as an ocean conservationist, or just a marine person, we want to start a conversation about the delicate nature surrounding the marine environment. And the YouTube channel is sort of geared toward helping people with their underwater photography skills, because we believe that the more people we can turn on to underwater photography, the more ocean ambassadors we can create globally. And as those people go out into the world and they share their photography with people who don't dive, then it starts a conversation and it brings people into the circle. Now we call it the way I see it, because I have a kind of a unique style of ambient light photography, where I don't use a lot of external lights or artificial lights. My photography is probably best summed up as wide angle, close focus, ambient light photography. So we call it the way I see it, because when you're underwater and you don't have flash bulbs and you don't have all the lighting gear and everything else, and you look at the reef and you look at the environment, and you have a beautiful critically endangered hawksbill swimming across the top of the reef, when you see that with your eyes, that's what it looks like. When you add all that other stuff, you change the colors, you change the contrast, you change the overall feel of the image, and it's just not something that I ever gravitated toward. It felt oversaturated and fake to me. So we focused on ambient light photography. I like to think that we're sort of leading the way there. And we called it the way I see it, because when you look at it, that's how you see it. That's what it looks like underwater.
I'm almost seeing it, Jason.
Yeah?
I'm seeing it through your eyes right now.
All right.
Yes, definitely. Now, what is custom white balance? How to create it? And can photos be shot in RAW and fixed later?
Very good. That's a very good question. You guys have done your homework here at Radio Cayman.
Our producer does an excellent job.
She does, because that's a very poignant question.
Kudos to her.
And I'm going to give you an answer to that question, and I hope I don't bore the listeners who aren't into photography. When you have a camera, especially with today's technology, they're very smart, but they don't know that they're underwater. So what you have to do is you have to take the camera down to depth, and you have to tell it what color white is. And once the camera knows white is a certain color at a certain depth, then it fixes all the other colors in the image. So they all come out naturally. Now, if you don't if you don't tell the camera what's white at depth, what happens is, as you descend through the water column, the water starts to absorb the light. It starts on the red end of the spectrum, goes reds and oranges and yellows, until you're at depth and all your camera can see is blue. And that doesn't make for a very compelling image. But if you take your camera down about every 10 feet or so, you say, hey, camera, this is white. What we do is we carry a white slate with us. You take a picture of it. You tell the camera internally, this is white. Then it fixes everything, and you get a well color-balanced image that's basically what the reef looks like at that depth.
I guess that's why your photos look so amazing.
Yeah, and then if you do it, there's some you asked me about the raw image. There's a lot of people think that you just go down and you shoot in raw and you fix everything in post. The key factor that's missing in that part of the conversation is that if the color doesn't exist in the image, you can't manipulate it even if it's a raw image. So you need to tell the camera what's white, do a custom white balance, and then make your adjustments in raw and post. So
what sort of camera do you use?
I'm a Canon guy.
Canon guy.
Yeah.
You're a Canon guy.
Yeah,
Free plug for Canon.
Yeah, I shoot the EOS R5, which is their newest mirrorless monster. It is the best camera I've ever shot, hands down.
Noted. Well noted here,
Yeah.
Jason. No, we're curious to have your thoughts on lighting, composition. You did, allude to some of that, but camera platforms and struggles.
So again, I'm known for my ambient light style of underwater photography, and I do have strobes, and I will use them in certain situations. So I'm getting ready to shoot the new gear catalog for Cressy. And when a manufacturer makes something, they make it a certain color. So there's a color code on everything. So on is that a Fitbit you're wearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that Fitbit has got a purple color to it, right? And that purple code by Fitbit has got some crazy number, 0.0897643, whatever. I don't know what it is. But it's very specific. And if you were going to make a catalog for Fitbit that contained that watch that you're wearing right now, it would have to be exactly that color. So to get that color, you need artificial lighting. So for a catalog shoot, I'll go down with external strobes and I'll shoot the models in the gear with artificial lighting, unless it's very, very shallow and there's a lot of light in the water. But other than that, I'm really not using them. Now, there are situations where we do underwater videos that require continuous lighting. So those are lights that are on all the time, where we balance the camera to the external lights. So sometimes we'll use those. But for the most part, again, we shoot ambient light when we can. It gives the image a more natural feel. It also makes our work stand out from others because almost everything else that you see is artificially lit these days.
Are you doing all the photography for that catalog? The entire
I
catalog?
am. Everything for the new Cressy gear catalog will be shot in the Cayman Islands and featuring some of Cayman's most iconic underwater landscapes.
Wow. And that would bring me to the point of where, Jason, is your preferred location to dive and, of course, take those photographs in Cayman?
Wow, I mean, that's a tough question. That's kind of like asking how long is a piece of string. It all depends on the day. So, what are our objectives? What type of shot are we going for? If we're just generally out diving, I'm a big free diver. I do both scuba and free diving these days. For the past 5 or 6 years, mostly free diving or breath hold diving. But I love everything. I mean, I go to you'll find me at Sandbar 3-4 days a week. Just hanging out with the stingrays, taking pictures up near snorkeling off Rum Point. I love that area for scuba diving. I'm a big fan of Northwest Point. Up in that general area, we have some beautiful soft corals up there. A lot of massive gorgonians. The orange elephant ear sponge at depth is so brightly orange, even though it's deep down in the water, it just radiates these bright, vibrant orange colors. Really spectacular. So it's hard for me to nail down a favorite spot in Cayman. I like all of it.
Okay. I'll take where you really love to hang out with the stingrays. And speaking of coral, stony coral, do we have the stony coral tissue loss disease, or SCTLD? How is your encounter with all of that?
Well, firstly, I'd like to say, thank goodness for DOE. Because they really are, they do so much work when it comes to stony coral or the invasive lionfish, or just generally, Mark Orr patrolling our marine environment, making sure people aren't taking stuff out of season. So big shout out to DOE. Those guys are the ones that are behind the scenes doing all the work. It's a shame, we've seen some diseases pass through the Cayman Islands in the past. This one, I think, has got the potential to be, to have some devastating, long-lasting effects on our reef. And, back in 1978 or 79, a university from Texas came down and they did a study on the reefs of the Cayman Islands and the health. And at that point, I think they found that we were either 79 or 80% living coral coverage. So to give you an example, if this table that we're sitting at now were covered with coral, back in the 1979 or 70 or 80, about 80% of this tabletop would have been living coral. Right now, we're less than 17% living coral coverage. And here's the scary part. That puts us in the top 5% globally at 17%.
Wow.
So corals globally are dying off. We are, because of our location, because of a lot of environmental factors. Cayman, fast forward 50 or 60 years from now, could be one of the last holdouts with actually live living coral. So it's important that when something like this happens, that we're proactive and we try to get out and ahead of it. And again, back to DOE, I think they're doing all that they can. But when you're fighting a disease that can be spread by fish, from one coral head to the next, or spread by ocean currents that are, constantly there, it's an uphill battle.
Or divers.
It can be spread by divers.
Yeah.
Can be spread by the water in the bilge of your boat. There are a lot of variables in this that it's hard to wrap your head around, and it's a difficult thing. It's a difficult thing that we have to fight here.
And on that note, Jason, we'll take a break to make some money. Good morning. Thanks to our listeners and our viewers on Radio Cayman. In the studio this morning, we're speaking with Jason Washington. Jason is an award-winning underwater photographer, owner of Ambassadors Divers here in Grand Cayman, also a resident, and we want to thank him for being in the studio. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion. Jason, when we come back, we'll discuss how important is underwater camera housing and taking care of your equipment after a dive.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Kenneth Norman Chisholm was born in Savannah, the son of Edwin and Rosina Chisholm. Edwin later moved his family to Forest Glen in Northside, where Kenneth grew up. As a young man, he traveled to Florida and worked on the Florida East Coast Railroad. During this time, he married Amy Pascal. They then returned to Cayman and made their home in Northside and had 6 children. He continued to make his living as a carpenter, first in Panama and then in Venezuela. In 1949, he returned to Cayman, but not to retire. He purchased a truck and carried passengers and freight for many years. He also operated a small grocery store and farmed his land, growing produce, in which he took great pride and which he not only sold but shared with family and friends. During the 1950s, he was elected as a vestryman. After his retirement, he continued to live a quiet and peaceful life with family until his death.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Rotary Central and you, our valued community, have undertaken remarkable accomplishments since October 1986. Over 34 years of activity and projects, making lives better and moving our beloved Cayman forward. Rotary Central has yet again committed to the advancement of these islands, this time in the area of mental health. We are proud to announce our partnership with Loud Silent Voices and donation of $50,000 to provide a community home for those recovering from various mental illnesses. Rotary Central and Loud Silent Voices, a signature project, taking care of the vulnerable, helping families manage, more than a shoulder, more than a helping hand, literally calming the storm. Rotary Central, care in every effort, sweat in every project, every dollar planted back in the community with your help. Rotary opens opportunities.
Oh gosh.
Don't let the stress of taking care of loved ones get you down.
Home care, now made easier with Cayman Medical Supplies. 100% Caymanian owned. Cayman Medical Supplies now stocks a wide range of home care supplies. Hospital beds, all types of wheelchairs, including beach access wheelchairs, lifts, commodes, shower chairs, walkers, Curad brand orthopedic supplies. Free blood glucose monitors with the purchase of 1 pack of test strips, blue underpads, and a whole lot more.
Need home care convenience? Drop by Cayman Medical Supplies at 93 Smith Road, Windward Center, or call 949-6211. Free delivery.
Open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Still delivering island-wide for your convenience.
2020, unprecedented times, uncertainty, and literally a new way of life.
Life happens, usually without warning.
That is why making sure that your family is insured is so important.
Cayman Insurance Center, 47 years strong, working to protect your family and your most valuable assets.
Whether you need to get a quote, renew a policy, or file a claim, Cayman Insurance Center is here to protect you and your family.
For more information, call 949-4657. Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, health, motor, and other lines of insurance products and services at affordable rates.
Cybercrime happens online or through the technology we use every day. Anyone can be a victim of cybercrime, whether you are a young person being bullied or harassed online, or an older person or business who's been scammed out of money or personal data. Cybercrime is an issue that touches all of us. The Cayman Islands government has therefore created an online resource to help keep you cyber safe in an ever-changing world.
In online situations, it is better to be cyber safe than sorry. Learn now to protect yourself against cybercrime. Visit gov.ky/cybersafe.
Business Buzz. Business Buzz with your host, Anita Khan.
Good morning and welcome back to the Business Buzz. In the studio this morning we have Jason Washington. Jason is the award-winning, I love to say that, Jason, the award-winning underwater photographer and also the owner of Ambassador Divers here in Grand Cayman. Thank you, Jason. We only have about 5 minutes or 4 minutes left on the program, and we have so much to pack into this. How important is underwater camera housing and taking care of your equipment after a dive?
Well, it's, those are the things that keep your camera dry. So, without them, you can't take images. You treat it like something that's of value and take care of it, and it'll take care of you. So after a typical dive for me, my camera housings go in a sink for about 24 hours, fresh water, or until they're going back out on the boat. They're sitting in fresh water, so all the salt's dissolving off of the housings. And if you don't do that, they're not gonna last long. And those housings are super, super expensive.
I'm pretty sure. Now, what are some challenges one can face when shooting free divers? And we know that your dive company offer free diving tours.
Yeah.
Correct?
So shooting free divers is something I'm very passionate about because take for example the shoot that we just did for Inter Miami, which was David Beckham's team. They hired us to do a freediving shot in their new jersey, the new Adidas jersey, which was, by the way, made from recycled ocean plastics.
Nice.
So that's why they contacted us to do that shot, and it was a great honor for us to be involved in that project. But we wanted to do a freediving image for Adidas in that shot, and for a few reasons. One, it's just kind of our style of photography. But secondly, when you're talking about ocean plastics and ocean conservation, I think it's kind of cool to go out and do it without all the gear. It's just a little bit less impactful. Specifically shooting freedivers, I've found that it's better for me to be freediving with them, because what happens is as you both swim down together, you're able to take the shot, come up, swim back to the surface, have a conversation about the shot, make an adjustment, go back down together, take a shot, come back up, have a conversation, make an adjustment. Now, if I were on scuba underwater and the freediver came down and I took the shot and the freediver went back up, well, chances are that I'm going to see some lighting, something different where I'm going to want to make an adjustment. Well, I can't have that conversation with her. So I'd have to swim up on scuba. When you're breathing compressed gas underwater and you're swimming up and down, you have elevated risk of decompression sickness. So freediving takes that out of the equation. So we can just go up and down all day. We can take the shots. We can have the conversation surrounding what best is going to make the next amazing image, and we can do it that way. And it's a safer way. I mean, people might argue with me about safety, but for me, it's a safer way for us to dive, multiple times up and down during the day without the chance of decompression sickness. Also, it's just more fun.
You make this sound like so much fun, Jason.
It is so much fun. I feel so blessed to be able to do this for a living.
You are. And where can we find that shot for Beckham that you did for Beckham?
You can look on David Beckham's Instagram page. Okay. It's all right there on his homepage.
That's a good way to start. No, you have an online shop, do you?
We do. Okay. I have CaymanJason.com, which is a place where I sell my underwater photography. We have it printed on metal from a artist in the United States who does amazing work. And we chose him specifically because he's the best at what he does, but also underwater imagery, I think, is best featured on metal. I'll give a quick shout out to my friend Chef Thomas over at Tom Foodery Kitchen in Camana Bay. They just opened a few days ago, but they've got some of our images on metal inside their restaurant there. 25% of the sales of those images go to a local food charity. So if you've not been to Tommy's Place, go by and check it out.
We've had him in here before.
Yeah, of course. He's a big lionfish guy. So he and I go way back. But again, we have them printed on metal because it has a wet look to it. And when we're all about representing the way it actually looks underwater, or the way I see it. So those metal images really represent Cayman underwater in a way that you can't get with paper or acrylic or other mediums that you would typically print on.
Jason, how can someone find you?
Instagram, Cayman Jason.
Do you have a website?
We do, CaymanJason.com or AmbassadorDivers.com for those of you who want to try scuba
Email?
diving or free diving. Email us at AmbassadorDiversCayman@gmail.com.
Awesome. It has been a pleasure. I've learned so much.
The pleasure has been all mine.
About diving and free diving and just about everything else, Jason. I wish you well, and hopefully borders will reopen soon and you can get on with your life.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Thank you so much. Coming up, we'll have the news for you, and we'll be back with our second segment shortly after that.
Thank you, Anita. And studio time now by Foster's is 8 o'clock.
Foster's and CG Bird K have teamed up to make living a holistically balanced life easy.
Introducing Live Well, your source for recipe ideas and lifestyle tips to help you achieve your healthy living goals.
Head to livewell.fosters.ky and discover foods that will help boost your memory, natural cleaning tips for your home, and more.
Plus, you'll also find our latest Live Well recipe.
This week, we have one-pot vegetarian spaghetti full of fresh and affordable ingredients.
Get started at livewell.fosters.ky.
Live Well with Foster's and CG Bird K.
The 8 a.m. News is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. We are a not-for-profit, member-centric plan with a democratically elected volunteer board of trustees representing all sectors of the Cayman Islands economy. We have an all-in expense ratio of less than 1%, over 20,000 members, and $490 million in assets under management. We were the first multi-employer pension plan approved by the regulator in the late 1990s, and today we are still strong, secure, and are here for our employees and employers alike. If you would like to join or require further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. As you heard live right here on Radio Cayman on Wednesday, the Premier announced that the population figures are higher than expected.
In the absence of current population census numbers, we asked the ESO to work with us to ensure the assumed number of 65,000 was as accurate as possible. This has led to a revised conclusion that there is likely around 71,100 people living in the Cayman Islands. Obviously, that impacts the vaccine take-up calculations. The latest medical advice suggests that a target ratio as high as 80% of the population may be necessary to achieve herd immunity.
The Honorable Wayne Panton says as of right now, the decision is yet to be made on whether the government will go for the higher or lower end of vaccination rate.
Using 80% of 71,100 provides a target of just under an additional 17,000 people in our population that we need to fully vaccinate. Using 70% of that population number indicates a target of just under an additional 10,000 people that need to be fully vaccinated.
Final decisions will be made in coming weeks. Police provide an update on the Operation Quaker Road Safety Campaign. Radio Cayman's April Cummings has more.
Over the long weekend, officers arrested 13 drivers on suspicion of DUI, with the highest breath specimen recorded at well over double the maximum blood alcohol level of .100. Police also wrote just under 60 tickets, most for speeding or driving with expired registration. Over the 4-day holiday, police say they responded to more than 25 motor vehicle collisions, the majority of them in the District of Georgetown. Cayman Brac police officers were busy too, writing more than 15 tickets over the past week, most for speeding. April Cummings, Radio Cayman News.
In regional news, the St. Kitts and Nevis government has declared a state of emergency as the Twin Island Federation grapples with an increase in the number of coronavirus cases in recent days. A government statement said that Governor General Sir S.W. Tapley-Seton had issued the proclamation declaring a state of emergency. The statement says, quote, "The emergency comes about in the wake of a new wave of rising COVID-19 infections brought about by community spread, which has seen to date 244 confirmed cases with 180 active cases, 0 deaths. The measures will remain in place until July 16th. Government said it is, quote, engaged in a war against the COVID-19 pandemic that, if not contained, threatens the lives and livelihoods of its citizens. The St. Kitts and Nevis government said, along with the National COVID-19 Task Force, it's asking all citizens and residents to comply with the non-pharmaceutical measures of mask wearing, social distancing, and proper hand hygiene in order to curb the spread of the virus. Now, with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Justine Green. The future of Hong Kong's main pro-democracy news outlet, Apple Daily, appears in doubt after the police arrested its most senior journalist and froze its bank account. The authorities said some of the newspaper's reporting had broken the national security law. A Chinese spacecraft carrying 3 astronauts has successfully docked with the country's new space station. The Shenzhou 12 craft linked up with the Tiangong station for the start of a 3-month mission. The Ethiopian government has called on the African Union to immediately stop inquiry into allegations of abuses in the Tigray region. Ethiopia called on the AU to instead carry out a joint investigation with the Ethiopian authorities. An Israeli police officer has been charged in connection with the killing of an autistic Palestinian man in occupied East Jerusalem last year. Ayad al-Haq was shot dead while on his way to a special needs school. Following the killing, the police said 2 of its officers believed Mr. Halak was carrying a gun. German police have gained control of a house in Berlin that serves as a base for the far left to carry out a court-authorised fire safety inspection. Officers used chainsaws to break through the front door. Over 300 officers were deployed. The activists say the fire inspection is a pretext for eviction. And that's the latest BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky.
The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Are you aware of the performance of your pension plan? The Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan provides quarterly fund fact sheets for our members to stay informed with the plan's performance. For the year ended August 31st, various life cycle funds provided returns between 9.2% and 16.5%, and our all-in expense ratio is currently the lowest it's ever been, a record low at 0.72%. Visit chamberpension.ky to review our fund fact sheets. You can see the performance as far back as 10 years. Remember that pensions are a longer-term investment strategy. Focus on the long term rather than the short-term returns. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan continues to perform for you.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
The 7 a.m. news, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by CG Britke. Insurance, health, pensions, life, where people come first.
Planning for the hurricane season can be stressful, especially because COVID-19 remains a concern. To help you safely prepare, here's some tips from the Public Health Department. have a fully stocked first aid kit. Make sure you have face coverings, hand sanitizers, and disinfectants should you need to evacuate to a shelter. Ensure a sufficient supply of medications for people with illnesses. Ensure immunizations are up to date, and when eligible, take your COVID-19 vaccine. Ensure a sufficient supply of food and clean water for every member of your family. For more guidance to update your emergency hurricane plans due to coronavirus, visit www.caymanprepared.gov.ky. This message is brought to you by the Public Health Department in partnership with the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
The 8:10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
For over 100 years, more than 5.8 million people across the Americas and the Caribbean have placed their trust in Pan American Life Insurance Group. We have delivered on our promise and have proven that we're more than just an insurance company, we're family. To learn more about our first-in-class group health and employee benefit solutions, please visit Pan American Life Insurance Company of the Cayman Islands at Unit 221, Cannon Place East, North Sound Road, Grand Cayman, or contact us at 949-8304. You can also visit us online at www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
Hey, pleasant good morning. Let's take a look at the very latest weather report. Current temperature is 85 degrees. Relative humidity is 81%. The barometric pressure, 29.93 inches and rising. The wind is out of the east at 12 knots. Overnight low temperature was 82 degrees. Synopsis indicate moderate winds and slight to moderate seas will continue across the Cayman area for the next 24 hours as a ridge of high-pressure system lingers north of the Caribbean Sea. Sahara dust over the Caribbean Sea will contribute to hazy conditions over the Cayman area, and radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman area moving towards the northwest. Now, the forecast for today calling for partly cloudy skies with dust haze and a 20% chance of showers, and temperatures will rise to the upper 80s. Winds will be east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Pretty much the same for tonight, partly cloudy with dust haze and a 30% chance of late night showers, and temperatures will fall to the upper 70s tonight. Winds will be east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Low tide will be this morning at 9:45, high tide this afternoon at 3:56, and a low tide again tonight at 9:40. The sun will set this evening at 4 minutes past 7 and will rise tomorrow morning at 5:48. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Saturday morning as the ridge of high pressure and Sahara dust are expected to linger over the Caribbean for the next 3 days. That's the very latest on your weather report.
10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
For over 100 years, more than 5.8 million people across the Americas and the Caribbean have placed their trust in Pan American Life Insurance Group. We have delivered on our promise and have proven that we are more than an insurance company. We are family. To learn more about our first-in-class individual and group life, disability and accident solutions, please visit Pan American International Insurance Corporation at Unit 221, Cannon Place East, North Sound Road, Grand Cayman, or contact us at 949-8304 and visit us online at www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong series. The Cayman Strong series is brought to you by On Course Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. On Course Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Achieving your goals is a very rewarding feeling, but at times can feel very frustrating, especially if and when we miss our target. As you approach your goals in life, set yourself up for success.
When setting your goals, have a deadline. Procrastination is common in human nature. Setting a time to review the work helps to increase motivation because you know that you have to have it done by a certain time. This also ensures that you slow down to review progress. Consider rewards if things are going well. If things are not going as well as you would like, a deadline gives you a chance to pause and reflect on the current goal to see if there may be something getting in the way of being able to get it done.
Change your thinking and change your life.
Radio Cayman's Cayman Strong series was brought to you by On Course Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. On Course Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. On Course Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. On Course Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Top of the morning to you. Let's take a look at traffic. Coming from the Butterfield roundabout, heading towards the Industrial Park area, traffic is steady. And coming from the Industrial Park area, heading towards the Butterfield roundabout, traffic move along moderately. Coming off the Esterly Tibbetts Highway, heading towards the Butterfield roundabout, traffic is steady but flowing. And a little steady traffic, but nothing to worry about too much on Godfrey Nixon Way. As we look to the Linford Pearson Highway, traffic is bumper to bumper. Coming off Linford Pearson Highway on Agnes Way as well. Steady traffic on coming off of Bobby Thompson Way, continuing on to Huldah Avenue. Edward Street, traffic moving at a good pace. Shedden Road, moderate flow of traffic. As we look to the West Bay Road, in front of the Ritz, traffic is moderate in both directions. And on North Sound Road, traffic flowing pretty good. That's the very latest on the traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12 o'clock. We'll give you another traffic report. Remember, click it or ticket.
Things just got a bit hotter on Island. Come in today and order the new spicy Korean subs at Subway. They're sweet, spicy, and especially satisfying. Stop in and try the pulled pork with spicy Korean sauce, or the chicken with spicy Korean sauce. And you can message WhatsApp at 929-4658. Order online or use Let's Eat or the Bento app. The spicy Korean subs at Subway in 2 flavors, extra saucy and extra spicy. Subway, eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
That thing we've been saying for 64 years, ignore it. Eat the KFC wings, drink the KFC gravy, fill up on fries. Just please forget the thing we normally suggest. You know, that thing you used to do with your tongue after finishing a delicious piece of our KFC chicken. We get it. It's not easy. There's a reason why it's been our slogan for over half a century. But the world's drastically changed of late, and as soon as we can embrace the change, the sooner we can all get back to doing what we do best. KFC. It's good.
The 20th Annual Talent Exposition of the Arts is here.
Are you ready for some talent tonight?
Presented by the New Self-Help Community Foundation. Coming to the stage Sunday, July 25th at the Hartwell Theater. Don't miss. Awesome performances by Liana DaCosta, JC Patrick, Rico Rolando.
Yeah, she twerking off a band and I'm about to make it dance.
Radiance Dance Studio, Mariah Praise, Dream Chasers Cayman, James at Anglin and Son, SI, Center Point Dance Studio, and UCCI Dancers. Part of the proceeds from the Talent Exposition of the Arts go to support the John Gray High School Music Department. Prepaid tickets at Funky Tang and Winners Circle Sports. $10 or $15 at the gate. The 2021 Talent Exposition of the Arts, Sunday, July 25th at the Hartwell Theater. Gates open at 5:30 p.m. Show starts at 6:30. Get your tickets today.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Business Buzz. Business Buzz with your host, Anita Khan.
Good morning and welcome back to the Business Buzz. This is the second and final segment for the Business Buzz on this beautiful Thursday morning. In the studio this morning, we will be discussing real estate and business coaching. And our guest is none other than Mr. Roger Southam. Roger is the founder of Caribbean MGT, and he's here to fill us in with all of the details. Pleasure to have you on the show again, Roger.
Good morning, Anita. It's a pleasure to be here. Lovely to see you again.
Good morning. Pleasure to have you back here.
Thank you.
We just love to chat to you.
Oh, bless you. It's nice to chat to you
You have all this information that you need to impart.
We want to share and we want to hopefully brighten and give people better guidance and information. Yeah.
Well, that's why we're here and that's why you're here.
Cool. Thank you.
Now, Roger, I know you wear so many hats.
Oh, well, a few.
You wear the Pure Dime hat.
Yep.
You wear the coaching hat.
Yep.
You wear the real estate hat.
Yep.
What else am I missing?
I think that's about it at the moment. We've got some other tech products running around, but basically, my background is real estate through and through. So I'm 43 years chartered surveyor, operated in locations all around the world and across the Caribbean. Real estate I love with a passion, always have done, always will do. So that's my first love. But I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, and I've always had a lot of connections to be able to make put people in touch with each other and add things. So in terms of the tech products, it's where there's a gap in the market and where something can help people, and where hopefully we can make life easier and people have the tech working for them rather than them working for the tech.
Okay, before we get in all of that, you're also an auctioneer.
I am, yes, indeed. I've done a lot of charity auctions in the UK, and I've got the pleasure of doing the auctioning for the NCVO this evening at the Flowers Swim dinner, gala dinner at the Kimpton Seafire. So really looking forward to that, because that's my first on-island auctioning. So
can you give us a sneak preview of how you...
No, to be honest, that is something people have to see to believe. So yeah, absolutely. My approach, I run around the room like a lunatic, and anybody who's bidding, I will go up to. I don't just stand on the stage and wait for the bids. I'm going to go out and. Yeah, I think they'll see something different tonight to what they're used to in the auctioning. So that sounds like fun.
Sorry, we're going to miss that, right? If you're just joining us, thank you so much for doing so, our listeners and our viewers. Thanks to our sponsors this morning, Cayman Insurance Center, Health City Cayman Islands, and Cayman Medical Supplies. Now, Roger, can you shed some light on before we get into real estate, your 3-in-1 property services?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So there was a camera I came across from the UK, which is a wonderful product. There are similar systems around and have been used in Cayman for quite a long time. But the 3-in-1 camera will produce a virtual tour of your property and also measured floor plans. Now, the measured floor plans is the interesting piece, because it gives a very, very easy way to get an accurate and definitive floor plan, which we can put into CAD drawings for use by architects or designers. So you get the 3-in-1 facilities. So you get the virtual tour, you get photographs, and you get the measured floor plan.
So you don't have to stand there with the tape measure.
Exactly.
And flipping back and forth.
Exactly. What we can do, if you're going to have your house refurbished, or you're going to have some renovation work done, or the AC guys need to get plans of houses and you don't need to spend all the time doing the measurements. We can literally do that with the camera.
Okay. Do you sell those cameras? Or?
No, we just provide the service. So we'll go out and take the pictures, produce the virtual tours, and then just hand over all the information, all the paperwork, and everything's done. So
do you have a package deal?
Yeah. People just so generally we're charging a minimum of $250 per property, and then it's 25 cents per foot. So with a minimum of $250. So it's very cost effective. On larger houses, or larger properties, we're happy to negotiate. So it's just there to as an added facility and as a service. We obviously use it within our real estate broking services, and it's a good product. So actually, we had someone from the BRAC who was phoning up on one of our listings, and we were able to talk him through the property without him having to leave the BRAC and see the house on Grand Cayman, which is a pretty neat thing to do.
That's the way to go, Roger.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the way to go, especially in these times.
Yeah.
It's 24 minutes after 8 o'clock, and you're listening to the Business Buzz. Now, Roger, you've been 43 years in the real estate business. I've tried it for a while, too. I've had my little, before I came on full-time with Radio Cayman, and it was fun.
Yeah.
And I do miss it.
Yeah.
But you have to be committed full-time. So for 43 years, that's some commitment.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have operated in all spheres of real estate, both commercial and residential, investment, development, agency, management, and bring all facets to the table. So in acting as a real estate broker on Ireland, what Caribbean MGT is offering is a slightly different proposition in that we are regulated by the RICS, which is the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, which is a worldwide body. So I have to have professional indemnity insurance. I can only act on one side of the table, so I'm either acting for the seller or the buyer. I cannot physically be on both sides, so I always declare that up front. We have to have client accounts. I have to do CPD, continuing professional development, so we have to stay up to date. And having investment and development background means that when I'm looking at a property, I have an awareness on the building surveying aspects in terms of construction, etc. I'm also a registered valuer, so understanding valuation is an important part of the broking side. So I bring an all-round package, I suppose, in the delivery. And because of the depth of experience I've got, I actually used to act for people in tribunal in the UK. So I've got a quasi legal mind on various things. And in fact, I'm still doing consulting in the UK. I have a case on at the moment that I'm trying to settle before going to tribunal. So that is an added deliverable in terms of being able to see how to solve problems, how to find solutions, how to get people the best deal they could possibly can on a property.
And if I'm buying or selling, those are some of the qualities I would want to deal with.
Well, yeah, it's interesting because a number of the people who've come to us, it's amazing what people don't know about real estate. And when you stand back and think about it, it's actually quite logical because most people are only getting involved in a transaction maybe once or twice in their lifetime. So why on earth would they know a lot of the elements and aspects in terms of needing a lawyer, in terms of what the implications of an offer to purchase is, what the implications are in terms of mortgage, in terms of who's acting for who's looking after whoever's interest, and being able to debunk and be able to demystify some of those bits. One of the strangest ones on this island, which is so quirky it's untrue, all the measurements are external measurements. We don't have internal net areas, and most people don't understand that or realize that. So then it sort of makes sense as to why it doesn't feel like they're in 3,000 square feet.
Now, Roger, can you share some details as it relates to the current real estate market and some of those factors that are impacting the selling process?
Yeah, absolutely. It's Cayman has held up so resiliently and so amazingly well right the way through the pandemic. And it makes a lot of sense because the island has looked after itself so well and been so well protected after the first 3.5 months. A lot of people are seeing Cayman as a safe haven from the pandemic, from political stability, from financial stability, from every aspect. And that is consequently bringing a weight of demand in, which is ongoing, and I can see no sign of letting up. The challenge at the moment for the real estate market, and we'll probably see the repercussions of this over the next 6 to 12 months, the cost of materials for building are going exponentially up. The shortage of materials is causing that to be compounded, and consequently it is on the cusp that the value of the properties is lower than the cost of building. So for people who've committed to build something and have pre-sold, it's a fine line between whether they're able to make money or not make money at this present time. So consequently, I think that could have some repercussions, and I think that may have some impact in the next 6 to 12 months. But generally, I can see demand continue to rise. I can see the prices continuing to rise. And we're in a fairly stable place as far as Cayman is concerned.
Now, what usually do potential buyers look for when they're thinking about purchasing real estate in the Cayman Islands? You smile, Roger.
Yeah, I smile because it's an interesting question, because I think there's sort of 3 different tiers to that market. I think you've got investors, you've got homeowners, and then you've got people who are just trying to get on the ladder and just trying to get the best deal they possibly can. And I separate that out because for some it is about what is affordable. And one of the worries I have as far as Cayman is concerned is find the market racing away and prices increasing, and it's great in certain circumstances but for a section of the population it creates a nightmare for people who aren't as lucky enough to have high paid jobs or be earning huge money. How do they get on the ladder, the property ladder? How do they get their first step? Where's their home going to come from when you look at the complete dearth of property that now sits in the sort of $250,000 to $300,000 dollar band? So I think that is another interesting dimension. But in terms of what are people looking for, it depends which of the camps you're sitting in. If you're looking for an investment property, generally you are looking for something that will give you a good rate of return and easy maintenance and going to be well looked after without any hassle. If you're looking for a home, I would urge people to think about what their needs and requirements are, from living space, from how they live, how they wish to live, their style of living. Do they want external space? Do they want barbecues? Or do they prefer one-floor living? Do they like houses? There's so many different factors in it. But you kind of need to take a step back and be dispassionate and make sure you're not down a wish list that is not realistic for you. And you need to be taking a stance that is cold from the point of view of making a wise decision on what you're going into. It's a big investment for a lot of people, and knowing how you live will impact how you what sort of home you want. And obviously there are other factors from the island perspective, getting sea view or land or strata property, etc. So there's a number of factors that go in. So there's as much of a science into it as there is just the kind of falling in love with your dream home.
You know, some of us have a bare budget.
Yeah.
And we have champagne taste.
Yep.
So sometimes it doesn't work, right?
No, absolutely. And I think if you've got the beer budget and the champagne taste, then it is finding how to maximize that beer budget and how to take something that's within your capability and to aspire it or to turn it into your champagne home, into your dream home. And there's ways and means of doing that. And there's some great furniture suppliers on the island that have got some great value, and In fact, my business partner, Paul Blount in Caribbean MGT, has living.ky, which has great value furniture. I ought to give him a plug, didn't I? So
just got a free one.
I know. He owes me now. But it's that element of how do you maximize what you have, and how do you get the best value. So if that's the position you're in, then explaining to your realtor and explaining to someone who understands real estate extremely well can help you get through and end up with your champagne home.
Most times, a lot of people don't know what they want until they see it.
Yeah.
And then by that time, they realize, well, this is not what I was pre-qualified for with the bank.
No.
And then they have to start over again. So what you're saying really does make sense, Roger.
Yeah, one of the first people, one of my first clients on the island, they described themselves as being very picky and very awkward and very challenging. I said, that's absolutely fine and quite right. So went to see a couple of properties with them, and then sat down and had a coffee and really talked through what their needs were, what their requirements were, what were they looking for, how did they live, how did they want to live, what were the important bits, what were the not important bits. And once I drew up a picture of what they needed, I sent them a little handwritten sketch in terms of words describing what I thought their dream home was going to be, and they were kind of, oh yeah, that's kind of what we want. And then it was easier to go and match the properties I'm looking at for them to what their needs and requirements are. And then within the first property, after that, their dream home was there. And it's
nice.
And that's where the all the things I do kind of link into each other. So the coaching services I do have an impact on real estate, have an impact on other areas, because a lot of what people are looking for, they kind of don't know what they're looking for. So it needs someone to tease it out, just to know the right questions to extract.
Now, what would you say to those young Caymanians who are out there looking for a job, looking for a home, and their first home in this case, and they have no idea what they want, but like you said, you know what you want, right?
Yeah, I think
pick it apart.
Exactly. It's think about how you would live, how you want to live, how you would like to live, and be realistic in your expectations. Most people only use about 20% of their home. Now, by that, and if you think about where you live and you think about how you get up in the morning, how you move around the house and then leave to go to work, come back, move around in the evening and then go to bed, the volume of time you spend in one or two places is extraordinary when you actually think about it.
And how much time you spend using the barbecue, the grill, how much time you spend using the dock, where you have, where you don't have a boat.
Nope.
It's amazing.
Absolutely. And it's that when you actually stand back and extract those elements, and you think, oh, okay, so that's the important bit for me. That's what I really need. Whereas your whole dream might have been in a different direction.
But the way prices are going in the Cayman Islands, Roger, a lot of young people will not be able to own their own home anytime soon.
No, I think that's one of the worries. As I said earlier, I think that's one of my biggest worries at the moment. And I hope that, and I'm aware of some people who are trying to take action on that to actually make some... I hate to use the word affordable, but I think it is. I think affordable is the only word it can be. Affordable homes that are set at a realistic price, that are set at a level that people aren't overstretching themselves and are beyond their expectations or abilities, and finding other ways and other materials will become vital for this, because clearly the traditional construction costs are just going up and up and up.
So, Roger, you're an independent broker.
I am
as
indeed.
It is.
Yes, I am.
So
indeed.
you set your own commission rate.
Yep.
Now, okay, take for instance Tariba. They have a structured commission rate. Now, this is speaking off the cuff. Do you believe, since you started doing this in the Cayman Islands, do you believe that those commission rates might have a tendency to cause an inflation?
Yeah. Well.
In the price,
right? From my experience around the world, nowhere else works like Cayman on real estate. It's the bizarrest thing. So there is no landlord and tenant legislation. I've had Cerebra brokers say to some of the people who work with me, it's against the law to do this. Well, there's no law. It's a Cerebra regulation. That's a different thing. It's a made-up Cerebra regulation. So it's not. There's nothing actually prescribed in law on what people can and can't do. The level of commissions, I personally feel are excessive. I don't think they need to be that high. When I was operating in the UK, we could never dream of any level of commission like that. Sure, you're playing in a smaller pond in terms of size of market and size of operation, but it's about getting the best value for the homeowner if you're selling and getting the best value for the buyer if you're acting for the buyer. And the kind of notion that you're somewhere in between, I don't think you're able to serve anybody that well personally. And certainly from the RICS, I'd be thrown out. I'd lose my qualifications instantly if I put myself in that position. I've held them too long to want to do that. So I think it's an interesting market and it's an odd market, but with the way the market is in terms of the security and safety that is here from being COVID-free, then it's going to take a lot for that to shift and change. But there probably does need to be some residential or property legislation somewhere down the line just to actually put some prescription to it. But then you're going to have everybody wanting different things, and Cerebral want their rules enacted.
Roger, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue discussion and we'll look at how technology is changing the real estate industry. And of course, we have 3-in-1 camera, and we'll see how beneficial it can be for clients to improve the buying process.
2020. Unprecedented times, uncertainty, and literally a new way of life.
Life happens, usually without warning.
That is why making sure that your family is insured is so important.
Cayman Insurance Center, 47 years strong, working to protect your family and your most valuable assets.
Whether you need to get a quote, renew a policy, or file a claim, Cayman Insurance Center is here to protect you and your family.
For more information, call 949-4657. Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, health, motor, and other lines of insurance products and services at affordable rates.
Health City is now open at Camana Bay, offering a wide range of specialties at our state-of-the-art Camana Bay Clinic. We are here to help you save time and feel better. We are open weekdays, weekends, and evenings for your convenience and are dedicated to reducing your wait time while improving your health. Friendly staff, expert care, lab services, and diagnostics in one convenient location from the hospital you know and trust. Health City at Camana Bay, within your reach.
As the community continues to take precautions from COVID-19, it is important to stay prepared for other disasters now that we're in the hurricane season. Here are some post-hurricane safety tips from the Department of Environmental Health. Did you know you must ensure all utensils are washed with detergent and rinsed with hot water if they make contact with flood water? For full guidance on post-hurricane safety tips, visit www.deh.gov.ky.
Business Buzz. Business Buzz with your host, Anita Khan.
Welcome back to the Business Buzz. I want to thank our sponsors today, Cayman Insurance Center, Health City, Cayman Islands, and Cayman Medical Supplies. In the studio this morning, we have Mr. Roger Southam. Roger is a founder of Caribbean MGT, and he's also a high-performance coach. Good morning again, Roger.
Good morning, Anita.
And before the break, we said I was going to ask you, how is technology changing the real estate industry in the Cayman Islands?
Yeah, well, we've got a number of products, but there's a number of things that are making life easier for people.
3-in-1 camera, for sure?
3-in-1 camera, which does measured floor plans and virtual tour and photographs. There's abilities to do all the conveyancing online, all the transfers online, and using things like Blue Ink, which is a document signing platform that makes life easier. And I think Land Registry are now looking at how they can actually take in e-signatures as a means of improving the performance and delivery there. Then there's things like Foresight, which is a geofence that lets you know when suppliers are on property and how long they've been on property. So for doing any wages or doing any bill checking or safeguarding lone workers or keeping people away from dangerous areas, it gives you a better measure and control. So you don't have to have a piece of paper and someone going into one point and manually signing in and then going off to wherever they want. It will just do that all automatically. So it makes it more efficient. And I think that's generally the way tech is coming for real estate. And generally it's about how can I make your life easier? How can the tech work for you rather than you be working for the tech? And there's that's always the element in my mind that some of the nice apps and features and bits that exist, you think, yeah, but what's it actually mean, or what do I actually get from it, or I'm just feeding information in and I've still got to work like crazy to get there. Whereas you want things that will just make your life easier and actually give you more time.
That's right. Now, Roger, what are some tips you'll like maybe offer potential buyers and sellers?
Right. So, some quick tips. I would say
you have some idea.
I know I do. I'm teasing with you. So, I think first and foremost, if you let's separate it. So from the buyer's perspective, know your budget, set your budget, and work within that. If you see properties that are outside or just outside of the budget, it doesn't mean they're unattainable. It's knowing how to go about negotiating, how to go about achieving the end you want. And there's many different ways to do that. And that is one of the skills I bring to the party. And often we talked about fees a little earlier. And what I'll often do with fees with people is actually be incentivized to get a better price for the buyer or get a better price for the seller, depending on which side of the table I'm sitting on. And there's ways and means of doing that depending on which side of the fence you're sitting on. So having your budget firmly in mind is vital. Knowing how you live and how you want to live is vital, and what is important and what is of need and necessity for you. And don't be sold on the furniture, and don't be sold on
stainless steel.
Yeah, it's you need to look beyond at the shape, the configuration, and the fabric of the property. So all the property magazines will sell you on the lifestyle. They will sell you on the furniture and how it's arranged and how it's dressed, and that is what their job is. But from your point of view as a buyer, you need to look beyond that and walking in and going, oh, doesn't this look lovely? You're kind of lost before you've won, or before you've gone anywhere, because you need to be looking, oh yeah, okay, that room's that shape, yeah, that will work. Oh, I've got to access the bathroom from there. I've got to access the patio from there. That would work for me. That would work. The kitchen's got an island. Yep, that would work. And it's getting beyond the look and the feel. To take an analogy, it's looking beyond the makeup.
Looking beyond the makeup. Yep.
And then on the sales, how's that house going to look when it wakes up in the morning without the makeup on? And then from the selling perspective, it's pretty much the reverse of what I've just described from the buyer. So you want to dress your house nicely, so when someone comes in, you sucker them. You want to have nice smells in the house, so fresh baked bread always goes down well. Don't have stale coffee, for goodness sake, but a fresh coffee smell is quite good as people come in, because people will be sold by their ears and their eyes and their nose. And as much as I've just described to buyers, don't do it, believe me, everybody does it. They're all the eyes are the window that will take in what it is looking at. So if your house is messy and you're trying to sell it, you really need to declutter, because people will not see beyond the mess and the clutter that's
photographs.
There. Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the sort of personal side
personal items, yeah.
And if you've got any particular interests or elements that may be off-putting to others, then obviously putting those away would be a good idea. I've got a strange mental image in my head at the moment, which I won't share with the listeners now. But
is that the one where you remove the derelict vehicle from the yard?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. You take your Chevy out of the front lounge that you use as your dining table, and make sure it's dressed for anyone to come and see, and make sure it's presented in its best light possible. So if when you open the wardrobe door, if it's messy, that's what people are going to perceive. People can't generally see beyond that aspect.
Fix it before you show it.
Fix it before you show it. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you, Roger. Those are great tips, and our listeners, I hope that they'll appreciate them. Now, a lot of people get smiffed if you tell them to remove something. Do you just feel like no, I need to leave this here? But you're the agent. You know what's best, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a question of what someone is trying to achieve. So, from the perspective of if you're going to employ an agent, it would be pretty crazy not to listen to their advice. Someone who's got 43 years' experience pretty much knows, been around the block a few times, and it's kind of worth listening to some advice. But again, if they're fixed and they're adamant on what they want, and some people are, then that's absolutely fine. They are the client at the end of the day. They are the customer at the end of the day, and it's all about serving the client and the customer.
Yeah, but if it doesn't work for them, then you're in trouble.
No, because you just have to work around. You just have to work around the objective.
You have to work really deep around, Roger. You're listening to the Business Buzz. In the studio, Mr. Roger Southam, founder of Caribbean MGT. We're talking real estate, and I think we're pretty much done in real estate. We'll look at your coaching experience.
With pleasure.
But first of all, we've got to take that break.
Oh gosh. Don't let the stress of taking care of loved ones get you down.
Home care, now made easier with Cayman Medical Supplies. 100% Caymanian owned. Cayman Medical Supplies now stocks a wide range of home care supplies. Hospital beds, all types of wheelchairs, including beach access wheelchairs, lifts, commodes, shower chairs, walkers, Curad brand orthopedic supplies, free blood glucose monitors with the purchase of 1 pack of test strips, blue underpads, and a whole lot more.
Need home care convenience? Drop by Cayman Medical Supplies at 93 Smith Road, Windward Center, or call 949-6211. Free delivery.
Open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Still delivering island-wide for your convenience.
Health City is now open at Camana Bay, offering a wide range of specialties at our state-of-the-art Camana Bay Clinic. We are here to help you save time and feel better. We are open weekdays, weekends, and evenings for your convenience, and are dedicated to reducing your wait time while improving your health. Friendly staff, expert care, lab services, and diagnostics in one convenient location from the hospital you know and trust. Health City at Camana Bay, within your reach.
We are in the hurricane season, and knowing what to do after a hurricane can be as important as preparing for the storm. After the passage of a hurricane, seek medical attention if it is needed at hospitals and clinics for those persons who are injured. Do not touch power lines and cables that are down. They may be active. Report them to 911 or the utilities emergency hotlines. Broken tree limbs should be removed from around homes or buildings if possible. This hurricane information has been brought to you by Breeze FM and Radio Cayman.
Business Buzz. Business Buzz with your host, Anita Khan.
Good morning. If you're just joining us, well, you missed a whole lot of Business Buzz this morning, but you can catch the, let's say, the final 8 minutes of the show. In the studio, Mr. Roger Southam, Roger, founder of Caribbean MGT. We just discussed real estate, and I'm hoping that our listeners and our viewers found the information that you imparted, Roger, very, very
thank you.
Interesting.
I hope so, Anita.
Interesting, and it's something that they can use. Now, coaching.
Yes.
You're a big guy into coaching.
Yes.
Let's put it that way. Simply putting it. Roger, what is coaching?
Right. So there's a big difference between coaching and mentoring. So true coaching and bringing the best out of someone is about asking questions, asking the right questions, and getting out from within the person who is being coached what they're trying to unlock. So for most people, whatever problem they're trying to address, whatever target they're trying to hit, whatever goal they've got, whatever challenge or phobia, fear, whatever it might be, the solution will be locked within them. The solution will be there. It is a question of how do you elicit that, how do you extract that, how do you take their glimpse of brilliance and make it shine. And it is the most rewarding and satisfying thing I do, I think, in terms of coaching someone. And when you see that real light bulb and their face light up and the real aha moment and the joy and the pleasure, and you've got someone going, get out of my way, I just want to get on and do that now. And that is just so satisfying.
So how does personal coaching actually works?
So I got into coaching through a very strange quirk, but I was trained by Richard Brandler, who was the father of neuro-linguistic programming, NLP for short, which is about how language influences and affects someone. So if I were to say to you, you are in the studio, you were in the studio, you are going to the studio.
I'm going to be in the studio.
Each of those three will put you in a different location, just mentally. You're going to be in this, yeah? So without moving, and you're still sitting in the seat you're sitting in, but I've moved you into 3 different locations, right? So that's the power of language. And that's what NLP is all about, and how much language can impact. And that's why what you say to people and how you say it to people is very important, everybody. Anyway. So that's a side.
Not a big business buzz.
That's a side bit. But so from personal coaching perspective, it is about asking the right questions in the right way and knowing where to probe and where to pick and where to unlock. Frequently people will find it very emotional because it is like peeling an onion, and emotions come to the surface that they haven't had before or been aware of. Frequently they will find a sort of exposure that they haven't been aware of before, so that can be it is just natural. But it's being able to listen and hear what someone is saying and react on that to know where the gaps and the targets and the aspects are to get the right questions to get in and unlock. So, for example, if someone says to you, no one likes me, you only have to prove one person likes them, and that whole philosophy, that whole belief is suddenly shattered. And that's what you're trying to do with coaching, where the brain is a wonderful thing, but can be incredibly lazy for the user. So if you get 3 questions, if you get 2 questions that the first 2 answers are yes, typically the brain will answer yes to the third question, almost regardless of what that third question is. So a lot of the sales techniques people use are influenced off of NLP, etc. So all these things intertwine and interlink. So in the same way that the sales people will be trying to hit you, it's that same element, but using questioning to actually bring you to what your goal, what your dream, what your desire, what your passion, and how to achieve it.
So having said that, a great coach doesn't give answers, right?
Nope.
Instead, they ask powerful questions.
Exactly.
To unlock.
Exactly. So from my point of view, what I believe, my background, my history is irrelevant when I'm coaching, and I bring nothing of me to any coaching situation. It is all about the other person. I find it one of the most rewarding things I do. It is incredibly draining, because if anybody tries, a session is normally about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and most people listen but they don't hear. to be a good coach, you've got to be hearing everything the whole time and
good listener.
Thinking through, absolutely, thinking through sort of almost 3 questions ahead of how we're going to take that. Because it's like playing a game of chess almost in what you're trying to unlock. But it is so satisfying when you see someone achieve their dreams.
Roger, in instances where some people rise up the ranks in their profession and others stay where they are, what can someone do to reach their full potential? Someone like me, maybe. I don't think I've reached my full potential as yet.
There's
a lot more to unlock.
I think it's an interesting phrase you've used of reaching full potential, because I think what would you do if you actually got to your full potential? What would happen then? Would you just stop?
No.
Right.
There's got to be a fuller
exactly.
potential.
So the first, and this is where language can actually influence your perspective, because all of a sudden, from thinking about full potential, you're now thinking about what's actually beyond my full potential. So to come back to your question, though, sorry, I was going into sidetrack there. To come back to your question, so if you are trying to rise the ranks, having a coach can be incredibly helpful, because what it can do is give you an objective perspective. It can give you an unlocking of bits that you may not realize are blocking you, of how you are behaving or receiving or delivering messages, and any one of those can have an impact or a representation on how you're perceived or how you're perceiving and how you're delivering and how you're doing at work. So it may not be the other person is an idiot. It might just, well, it might be, they might be an idiot, but it might just be that you need to adapt how you're speaking or how you're representing, and then all of a sudden you'll get a whole different perspective and a whole different outcome. So I think coaching is one of the best things for anybody, and it can really, really, really make a big difference.
Now, you deal with career coaching, sports performance coaching, fear and anxiety, and life coaching. Let's have some contact details, Roger.
Oh, okay, absolutely. Yeah, anyone can reach me on 323-0066, or you can email me at roger@caribbeanmgt.ky. 323-0066. And I've actually got a sports coaching thing set up on the web with 36 videos on golfing called golfinmind.coach, www.golfinmind.coach, which is quite fun, which is taking people through the mental side of the game of golf and how to play your best golf whenever you want and not get frustrated, and being able to invoke the good thoughts and the good memories. And what is great fun with that is physician heal thyself. And I spend a lot of time with other people, and I didn't used to do so much with myself. But having done that 36 video online platform, I've started using it on myself, and my handicap is dropping like crazy. So yeah, it works.
Try it on yourself first, right? Before you do it with your clients.
Yeah, Roger, but I'm always one of those giving people. I think I should be helping others first.
Roger, thank you so much for popping by the studio this morning. It's been a pleasure talking real estate with you. And, of course, coaching.
Thank you so much, Anita. Always good to see you.
We wish you, same here, Roger, and we wish you all the best with everything that you do, all the hats that you wear, especially tonight.
Thank you, and have a blessed day, and blessed day to all the listeners.
Thank you. Thanks to our sponsors, Cayman Insurance Center, Health City, Cayman Islands, and Cayman Medical Supplies. Coming soon, Brack Medical Supplies Limited, serving the Cayman Islands with quality medical supplies, including wheelchairs, bed pads, crutches, and a whole lot more. Stay tuned to RC for updates on that, and to our guests on the buzz this morning, our listeners and our viewers, and of course to our producer, Miss Susan Watson. Have a wonderful Thursday, and when the weekend comes, please enjoy.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headline.